Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free. I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes Benz. Whoa, yeah. Please don't take offense. It isn't.
Welcome back, everybody. Cockriser, the show. I'm Jamie Jones.
I'm Monique Jones.
And this is episode 1, season 2, 2026. New Year's, our first show of the year. We haven't been on in a little to while, a few weeks. Take a break, but oh my, there's a lot of things that have happened over the Christmas holiday and New Year's holiday. What I think is interesting, what I thought about, is especially today. So today, in preparation for the podcast, you do a little reading, you get your notes together, you get your thoughts together. And I'm going through the things that I kind of clipped over the last couple of days or weeks, but I'm scrolling. And then I'm scrolling. And then I'm scrolling. And I'm scrolling through just today 123 national news articles before I got to one talking about what, Monique? Before I got to one talking about something that was being talked about every single day, almost on the hour, a couple of weeks ago.
Jamie, I don't do that.
What? No, but what is
the
the Epstein files?
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Think about
I was going to
that.
say something to do
No,
with the
no, it's
president.
not. But see, that's you answered the question perfectly.
Okay.
Because even you were like, what? And that was the biggest thing that everybody wanted to know. Like, what the hell's going on with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always go back to one of my favorite shows, House of Cards. It's always about distracting the public. And now all we're talking about is
Venezuela.
war.
No.
Venezuela, Iran, this, that 123 articles today on the national news cycle before getting to one that talked about the Epstein files, which, by the way, there's still millions of documents that haven't been released. And if you don't think that that was planned by POTUS and all this distraction and all this, like, let's go get Venezuela. Well, what are we going to do with Venezuela? Well, it's oil. It's like, well, the oil companies are like, well, we're not necessarily down with that because we don't necessarily think that that might be the right move. Oh, well, let me go say that I'm going to jump in Iran and help the protesters. Well, why are you jumping in Iran to help the protesters, even though they may need help? But you didn't jump anyplace else in the country months ago to help protesters. But now you want, what you gonna do? Put boots on the ground? You said you weren't gonna put boots on the ground. Now we're talking about Cuba. It's like, oh, now we're on Cuba now? Now we want to go back and get Cuba. And of course, Greenland came back. Everybody got tired of Greenland until they wanted to know, all right, who was having sex with underage women. Then it's like, oh. And the Democrats were like, all right, I mean, if you're going to come out with it, come out with it. And they were like, oh, okay, we better talk about something else. So this is not a coincidence that the news cycles have been bombarded with things that, and now let's be fair. People dying all over the world is more important acutely right now than what happened back in the 90s, although those women deserve justice. Those victims deserve justice. So it's an ongoing thing, but it's not as immediate, and that immediateness is what we always pay attention to. But I just think it's not consequence or not by consequence that all of a sudden we're not even talking about the Epstein files. It's like in the back of the news. And even when they tried to drum it up again a couple of weeks ago with some of the victims, they were like, they suppressed that with more stuff about things outside of the United States. And even inside the United States now. So, now the big thing is, of course, unfortunately, what happened to the lady who got killed in Minneapolis. And of course, it's tragic.
It is.
It could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. But it's interesting. It's just like when certain people are missing, when certain young girls are missing, how much
This is true.
news is about it versus
Yeah.
other young girls that are missing. Now, when a certain ethnicity or
Yeah,
race gets
it's true.
violated, it
It's
becomes
true.
a victim, then it becomes this big thing now. And that being said, unfortunately, she did hit the officer.
She did.
She did hit him with
And
the car. That might not have been her. That might
when
not have
I
been what she
watched
wanted
the
to do.
video, when I watched the video, again, I heard about it on social media. I didn't even really know exactly what happened. I was seeing a lot of people saying RIP or, rest in peace, that this isn't right. So I kind of was like, oh, and then you mentioned it to me and I said, oh, wow. So then you showed me the video and then I see this woman try to run over or, try to get, I don't know if she was purposely hit him, but when somebody's standing in front of your car and you don't stop, you purposely are trying to hit them because they're in your way. Is that correct? And that's what she did. Did that make it valid for her to be murdered? Absolutely not.
Well, it's not
But
valid to be murdered, but you have the right as an officer to protect yourself when they're giving instructions
mhm,
to one. We think now this may be projecting on because we don't have a lot before it, but obviously there was a car in the middle of the street. Officers were walking up saying, "Move."
mhm.
She wouldn't move. Then she started to move after they said, "Hey, get out the car." But
Yes.
that's too late.
Too late.
That's I think anybody knows. You get stopped on a traffic stop and then you don't cooperate. When they tell you to get out the car, it's too
Mhm.
late, right?
Mhm.
But some people aren't used to being under those certain circumstances or having to be worried about those circumstances.
Yes.
So
Very
then
true.
why would they think, "Oh, you're not going to do anything to me because I'm going to move now." But the
Mhm.
problem is I just ran over somebody almost and literally hit them with the
Yes.
vehicle, which is a
Mhm.
weapon,
Yes.
and then you got
Absolutely.
shot at. Now,
Yeah.
was the shot to kill? Probably not, but most likely you're dealing with somebody who could have been trained. So why would you take that chance when they're armed? And I thought the interesting comment from her wife was, "Oh, we came to this with whistles and they came with guns." Even more of a reason to move or get out the car. So although they didn't, I don't know who escalated it. Of course,
Mhm.
ICE was there. They're there on orders, whatever you think about the orders. I don't agree with the orders of them being there. However, when they're there,
Mhm.
you gotta you, you gotta abide by their
Yeah.
directions,
Yeah.
especially if they're trying to assess a situation. Why are you impeding what's
Yeah.
going on?
I
And
agree.
then there was that there was that Instagram that we got sent by our friends about the Philly police captain saying, "Hey, law enforcement officers don't wear masks," and I'm like, that's not necessarily true. They may not wear masks in municipalities, but DE agents do. FBI
Yes.
does.
To
We don't
protect their
want
identity.
to
Yes.
protect their identity and their families. So in that
Mhm.
sense, and I'm not saying that don't come down on me saying ICE and all this other stuff. I'm just saying in general, they have the right to protect themselves just like anybody else.
Right.
And I think that no matter what background, ethnicity, or race you are, you should respect the law because if you're not doing anything wrong, then you shouldn't have any problems abiding by direction that will save your life in a very contentious situation. I feel bad, but you see it all the time. But we've seen videos in the past where certain people could run away from almost run over the police. The police will chase them and not fire a shot. So I get it. If you're used to thinking, "Oh, well, I'll be fine if I just move." Some of us would have been like, I'm moving on the first time they told me to move. And then if they tell me to get out the car, I'm getting out the car with my hands up and then I'm putting my hands behind my back so I don't have any problems.
Mhm. Absolutely. I wanted to interject and share the exciting news that we have as a part of our life together. We are
Is this
expecting.
news to me? Is this news
We
to
are
me?
expecting. No, this is not news to you. We
So
are
I know about
expecting
this.
a new. Hey,
Okay.
we are expecting a new family member in about 9 months. I'm going to predict about 9 months. I'm so excited to share this with everybody. Jamie, don't act like you don't know what's going on.
I don't. What are you talking
You
about?
don't?
No.
You don't know what's going on. Our new
I know
addition
what
to our family.
happens in 9 months, actually 10 if you're
Our new
technically
addition
correct.
to our family. Are you
I'm
serious?
uh,
You're
uh,
stuck?
I'm stuck.
We have a new
I'll be
addition,
very
and his
surprised
name
if
is
it.
Neo. His name is
Oh,
Neo.
Neil, you don't. That's not true. That's not true. That's ha ha. Funny, funny. That
What
is
do you
not true.
mean?
We don't know because we don't know when it's going to come.
You
We
said it's
don't
gonna be this
know.
year.
I said it's going to be this year, so that could be
I
2
say
months.
9
That could be
months.
12. That could be
Approximately
12 months.
9 months. I'm gonna say
People don't
9
even know what you're
months.
talking about. You have
Well,
to
let's tell
explain.
them. Yeah, so, there is a robot, and it's an AI robot that can, um, vacuum the house, do the dishes, do the laundry. Um, Basically, you can train it to do whatever it is that you want it to do, based on your schedule of chores for them. You can ask them anything historical. You can ask them about, recipes and other things. I'm excited because it will kind of alleviate some of the things that I have to do on a daily basis. Yes, I do clean up the house all the time and laundry. Jamie's always talking about how the washing machine is always going, but it's nice to think about you might have somebody or something here that will help you take care of those daily chores so that you can focus on some other important things. Yeah,
It's
I'm
an interesting
excited.
thing.
What?
Let's. There are many different robots coming out.
Okay.
This is one of the more human. Well, this is more human figure, not necessarily like looks like a person, like the one over in China. But this one can go up steps, um, do a lot of things that you'd be surprised on doing. It's um, it's somewhat affordable on a monthly basis, or you could outright buy it. But why would you outright buy a robot that probably be out of technology? I mean, it would be advanced more technology wise, probably 2 years from now. So
Mhm.
you try it out. But there's also caveats, right? You got to, and the interesting thing is people are tripping because it's like they're like, oh, it's not total, autonomous. Well, it's got to learn it, and how they learn it is basically there's somebody back in Palo Alto or wherever they are in California that's actually
Mhm.
when it's learning things like you say, hey, do the dishes or hey, vacuum the floor. They're learning where everything is and how it is. So it's kind of like you've got a maid or a cleaning service. It's just like you're having somebody in your house doing a cleaning service or somebody in your house
Right.
doing a chore. After a while, it won't have to do that, but you have to be comfortable with somebody thousands of miles away learning this chore or
Mhm.
activity for you. To me, it's no different than saying, hey, you got somebody in your house and they're doing something and you're there. Okay.
Right.
You just have to make sure all the privacy stuff is there. But it'll be interesting to see. It is out of Palo Alto, by the way, a company called 1X. We're not getting anything from that. If they want to, hey, 1X, since we're pubbing you, not that you need our publicity, you can go ahead and drop a few months free on the service for us when we get it. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting, and if it doesn't work, you just give it back, right? You
Right?
just send it back. But that was real cute
Okay.
because I was about to be like, yeah, don't make
You
that announcement over the
you
air before I
don't
find
why?
out about it.
Uh, well, we wouldn't be finding about it because, we know that that's not gonna happen.
I don't,
So
you could have went to the bathroom with a stick for all I knew. How am I supposed to know,
No, this is true. But no, that's
right?
not the case. We're not having any babies or dogs for that matter, or cats, but I'm definitely looking forward to our, robot, family member. So,
Good, and then we could continue on healthy ways
yeah.
because did you know?
Well,
Did you know? What is the number one in
mm,
2025 America Health Rating, an analysis on social and economic factors, physical environment, clinical care behaviors, and health outcomes. What is the healthiest? I'll give you three guesses. What are
okay.
the three healthiest states in the U.S.?
Um,
A guess means you tried to guess. It's all
yeah.
right if you don't. It's all right if you don't. Just make
Okay.
a
I'm gonna
guess.
say, New Hampshire.
Ding, 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 ding. New Hampshire is number 1.
That's so
Massachusetts
funny.
is number 2, and Vermont is number 3. So this must be like the Bermuda Triangle of healthy
That's so
states
funny.
is up
That's
here. I think
crazy.
it's funny that New Hampshire has nobody in it, and Vermont has even less people in it, I think. But then Maine and Rhode Island are 10 and 13. But Massachusetts is 1, is 2. New Hampshire's 1, and Vermont is 3. As a matter of fact, Connecticut's 4. So they got a nice little thing going on there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
what
What's the
is the
unfortunate?
worst? What is the least healthiest state in the country?
Mm. New Jersey?
Now, New Jersey comes in the top. They're in the top. They're number 11. They're in the top 15.
Okay. I don't know. You have to tell me, honey. I don't know.
Well, see, that's not that's not playing along.
Okay,
That's not the guess.
Chicago. Chicago.
Chicago's not a state, dear. Chicago's not
Oh,
a state. It's a city.
city.
No.
I
On
was just
that
like,
note, I will help. On that note, I will help.
wow.
Louisiana, unfortunately, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. And it's funny because they're all right next to each other too, just like we're
Hold up.
all right next to each other.
Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas.
Louisiana, Arkansas, then Mississippi, 50, 49, and 48. I have not
Okay.
lived in any of those states, but Alabama is 47, so I have lived there before. They're right next to it. So I mean, those 4 states, that Bible Belt right along the Bible Belt right along the South are the 4 most unhealthiest state. Well, it's
Oh,
funny
wow.
that they all touch each other, they all border each other, or they border each other and
Mm-hmm.
continuously. So does New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts,
And
and
right. Yeah, that's
Connecticut. So
crazy.
interesting. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
more.
that's funny.
There's more to come on that. Um, yeah, Alabama's right there, and then it jumps up to West Virginia. That does not. None of those things surprise me at all. There is also, for its and giggles and for
Uh-huh.
useless trivia, there is also a new lightning capital of the United States. It is no longer Florida.
Okay, so what is it? Where is
Well,
it?
then again, it's another guess. It's another
No,
guess.
I
You
don't
see,
want
I'm
to
setting this
guess.
up.
I don't.
It's another
Just
guess.
just tell me what it
It's
is.
well, Oklahoma, actually, is Oklahoma. They claim the top. They had
Oklahoma?
73 lightning strikes per square mile.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. That's a lot. They had
That's a lot.
73 lightning strikes per square mile. That's like, yo, you probably gonna get hit by lightning if you move to Oklahoma or some ways. That's a lot.
That's scary. Yeah, that's scary, but yeah, I can,
But guess what?
what?
Atlanta,
Atlanta,
Huntsville,
what?
Jackson, one of the not one of the, but the world's busiest airport, had over 10,000 lightning strikes in 2025.
10,000?
8 out of the 10 busiest U.S. airports experience peak lightning day during the height of summer travel. I mean, that makes sense, right? That's when it's most likely. But 10,000 lightning strikes for
Wow.
that, yeah, that's crazy because if you're in a plane, that's not exactly the thing you want to happen
No.
is give a bunch of lightning
No,
strikes.
absolutely not.
So if I think the people who follow us, all 3 of them, know
There's
that
more than 3 because people
that
talk to me all
that
the time about it.
that that
There's more
we
than
have
3.
we have a medical weight loss clinic,
Mhm.
fit and trim weight loss clinic, in North Andover, Massachusetts. Look it up, fat-rx.com. So we often get in discussions, and we're always interested in better health and weight loss, of course, and different things that happen. Of course, the big news that came out at the beginning of the year is oral GLP-1, which the jury's still out, because what people need to realize is that Novo and so will Lilly. I mean, they basically have to give 5 times the injectable dose to be able to get the same amount of active drug in your system for it to be effective. And although they're saying this, and like I come from that world, and although they're saying that the side effects are similar, I think that that's going to be interesting to see if you take it and you got to wait 30 minutes before you do anything else. How many people are going to
Mhm.
do that? And then what is it going to feel like? Because nausea's no joke, and that's why most of the people go off of it.
Yes.
and it'll be interesting because you're taking it in the gut.
Mhm.
That'll be very interesting to see what happens. Now, so there's, I'm the market factors are always interesting. So Ozempic has made a ridiculous. I think 1 out of 8 Americans right now have either tried or are on a GLP-1,
Mhm.
and that includes for diabetes too. So what they're saying that Ozempic users, and they're really saying GLP-1 users, actually spend more dining out than before, than regular patrons now. So restaurants are trying to
Wow.
adapt. So you think that means they give smaller portions, but really what happens, they're
What?
saying is that, people on GLP-1s, they make their food one way, and people don't want to have like they don't want to make their meals and then make their family meals, and it's easier because a restaurant does that all the time, right?
Mhm.
And then they also said about that. Oh, what did they also said about that? There was something about that, how they're making more meals that are more higher protein and
Mhm.
all these other things. But they're saying like when they go out, that what was it? It was like there was something about when they go out, they spend more money because
Really?
yeah, and I
See,
forgot. Oh, I
now
had it.
with the patients that come in, they say they love going out to dinner because they only eat half of it and take the rest home for a next meal. So it's almost like they feel like they're saving money. I mean, that's the feedback I get from the patients. They're like, "Oh God, when I used to go out to eat before, I'd eat the whole meal or have a little bit left over. And now I can barely eat the meal, and now I have, enough to enjoy for another meal." So it's almost like they paid for one meal, but they get two. So I don't know what you read, but that's what the patient feedback I get.
Well, and it's interesting because this data says they're eating out less, but when they do go out, they
They're
spend
eating.
more.
Hmm.
So but the thing is, they're paying. You would think that they would be paying less money for a smaller portion, but they're actually going to be paying more money for a
Why?
smaller portion because that's how restaurants have small margins. So
Yeah.
if they're gonna say if you got to do the same amount of labor,
Hmm.
you're just not using the same amount of ingredients. So
Okay.
really,
Yeah.
that's where the cost is. So if I can
Yeah.
use less ingredients and the same amount of labor, and I can
Yeah.
charge you the same, then
The
I'm going to
same.
make more money
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
because it's the
But why
portion.
would
Like
but why is it because the customers are requesting a smaller portion that they're
yes,
changing the portion size?
because what happens is restaurants are being more accommodating for like build your own meal. Right?
Gotcha.
Like you can go and say, I want this, I want that, I want that, rather than what you're serving me, and they go ahead and do it. Now when you go to a restaurant, you say, "Oh,
Mhm. Yeah.
here's our meal," and you go, "Well, I don't want this. Can you take out the olive? Can you take out the butter? Can you make it this? Can you just steam it?" And they go, "Sure." Because we're
Yeah.
using
It's
less ingredients. They don't go, "Oh, because you said that, we'll charge you less." I've never heard that.
no, of course not.
I've just heard, "Yes, sir. Of course we could do
Yeah.
that."
Yeah, of
And that price
course.
tag comes out and it's the same as it was if
Same
I just would
price.
have ordered everything
Yeah,
that they would have
absolutely.
done anyway,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. And why would it not be? I
And
mean,
the other thing is because they say that, you have less interest of cooking all that stuff yourself because oh, this I remember what it is now. It was
okay.
about meal prep. Like, let's say you were
Okay.
trying to lose weight all the time, and you were like all into the meal prep thing. Like, have my meals ready, so I'm not going to go over. I know exactly what to eat. I'm gonna measure all this stuff. And when you're on a GLP-1, that basically is your calorie counter. You don't have to worry about tracking calories anymore because you're not going to eat that much.
Right.
So they don't have to do all that food prep.
Mhm.
And people who know, either if you're in bodybuilding or you're in any type of bikini competition, all that stuff, how tedious and how much money you spend on food prep and
Whew.
how much it costs to eat clean. It
Yeah,
costs a ridiculous amount,
crazy.
and it's just like, it costs a ridiculous amount of money to eat clean because it's mostly perishable food
Yeah.
that you got to eat or you
Yep.
waste. And
Yep.
the same thing kind of same things happen when we talk to people coming in the clinic, right? It's like they got all this food in the refrigerator, and actually they probably waste more food because they're not used to not eating that much, and the food just sits there because they don't want to eat it anymore.
Yeah.
So they buy less food.
Mhm.
So, but
And that was a strategy, not a strategy, but that was like a conversation that I would have with the patients. I'm like, listen, you don't want to spend this money for the injections because you think it's too much, but just think about how much money you're going to be saving in all the food that you used to buy, and all the junk food that you're not going to be craving anymore. So
well,
you're
that's interesting
saving.
that you say that because they
Okay.
said that with the data that you would have thought that people would have been eating out less and cooking more at home, but they're saying the data is verified that reveals that the fast food buy rate is up 2% in households that
Really?
have one GLP user.
Okay.
But I think what that says is
But
they
I'm,
know they
I'm,
can have that fast because it's not that's the thing. When you're on a GLP-1, you don't tell people you can't eat stuff. You say
yeah,
you're not going to want to eat as much as you ate before. So you
right,
may say you may like Bojangles, but you only
right.
going to eat one wing instead of eating the whole bucket,
Yeah.
right?
The patient, we had a patient that just started about a month ago. I can't believe the amount of weight that he's dropping. It's just like I'm like, wow, it's like so impressive. But again, he was like, it's fast for me because after work, I'm sitting there eating a half a gallon of ice cream, I'm eating chips, I'm eating donuts. And he's like, and I don't eat that anymore. He's like, I don't crave it, I don't want it. So I was like, I told him, I was like, I am so impressed with his weight loss, but he's impressed more for the fact that he's like, "I love the fact that I love those things, but I'm not eating as much."
Well, and the issue is, see, you can love those things, and we don't tell you what to. Well, we do suggest
Yes.
you need to be very protein conscious
Yes,
because what
absolutely.
happens is you're going to eat those calories,
Yep.
and they're not going to be a lot. But
Mhm.
you better be sure that the macronutrients are there, or you're going to lose muscle mass. And if you're
Yes.
not already trying to at least maintain your strength level, and that's the problem.
Mm.
Look, GLP-1s, they're not the problem.
No.
They mask the problem that you had before, which was your inactivity or your sedentary lifestyle. So if you're
Yes.
sedentary before you were on a GLP-1, most likely you're going to be sedentary after you're on a GLP-1 or during, which means if you're
Mhm.
not, GLP-1's not making you lose muscle. You're making yourself lose muscle because you weren't trying to
Yes.
gain it before, and it was getting masked because you were eating so many calories that yeah, your muscles were going to be fine. They weren't going to
Mhm.
diminish because you were giving them enough fuel. You were giving them too much fuel, and
Yes.
the carbohydrates and sugar were transferring over into your fat and making your adipose tissue even larger.
Right.
So that's the problem. Is like
Mhm.
if you haven't changed anything, and it would
Uh,
have been a disaster if they would have tried to do like bariatric surgery and all that stuff in the bands. If they would have said, "Oh, you need to go to a psych before you do this because you need to
mhm.
change the way you think," that would have been a disaster for the drug. So I know they
Yeah.
tried to stay far away from making that suggestion.
Mhm. I do think that the what I try to teach in the clinic is making sure that if they want to eventually get off the medication, that they are being very mindful while they're on the medication of the things that they're eating and applying exercise. Apply some type of resistant training to help build your muscles. Because guess what? You burn more calories when you have more muscle. So these are the things that we try to teach, the patients. I want to get down to 100 and so pounds, and then I want to stop. And I'm like, it's great that you want to stop, but just be prepared if you don't change your lifestyle while being on the GLP-1, that you will gain the weight back. And that's, I think, is the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. We have had people that stopped, that came back. I still have a few people that have not come back, and I check in with them, and they said they have started, exercising at the gym. They have put on a few pounds, but nothing that makes them want to start the medication back again. But we also make sure that we share with them that it's okay that they stay on the medication. It's not, you have to get off. There's no timeline. There's other health benefits to the medication. So it's just one of those things that once you reach your goal, how to maintain the weight that you're at without staying on the GLP-1, if you do want to not, if you don't want to be on it anymore. You have to set those goals for yourself.
No, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And I thought that there was something interesting too that came out last week. And I'm a firm believer in human rights. and I'm a firm believer in everybody is equal. I'm trying to wrap my arms around something that happened last week. It didn't happen in the United States. It happened over in a rainforest, I believe in Colombia. It was in Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time ever, insects have been granted legal rights. Yes, insects have been granted legal rights. The stingless bees from the Amazon have
Okay.
become the first insects to be granted legal rights anywhere in the world, and a breakthrough supporters hope will be a catalyst for similar moves to protect bees elsewhere. Now, I know bees are important to the ecosystem,
So your ecosystem, yes, they are very
but
important.
I don't know if a bee can get an attorney.
Well,
Or if a bee can sue,
this is true.
or is somebody going to be suing on their behalf? And then how am I supposed to know a bee that stings from a stingless bee? Because if I see a bee, I don't like bees. So
You're
I'm
freaking
swatting.
out.
I'm swatting.
Yeah.
All right. So that means that I don't want to discriminate against these bees. So I'm not going to the Peruvian Amazon because I don't want to hurt
Well, how do
the
we know if
stingless bees.
if they're stingless bees or not?
I just said that.
Yeah. So
I
how do
don't.
we know that? Yeah.
They're so little and fast. How am I supposed to be able to tell them on the
Do
spot?
they have a
If it's a
little mark
carpenter
that
bee,
says,
I don't know if it's
"I'm
a
a good bee"?
bumblebee, a carpenter bee, a stingless bee. I don't know
Right.
if it's a spelling bee. I don't know. All I know is if it's buzzing and it's buzzing around me, I'm swatting.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Did I ever tell you the story about the bee? What made me scared of bees?
No.
Back
Please
when I
share.
was 4 or 5, one of my early
Okay.
memories.
Mhm.
Remember that picture I showed you from when I was a little boy and I had the little white seersucker and the blue pants
Yes.
and I was
Yes.
in the driveway? Well, it was
Yes.
around that time, right?
Okay.
And I had this friend that lived up the street at the end of the street. He had like these big Coke bottle glasses. But he came running down the street one day on a hot summer day. He was like, I got stung by a bee. I got stung by a bee. Everybody was like, you got stung by a bee. He's like, wait, I got stung by a bee on my dick. I got stung by a bee on my dick. We were like, how you get stung by
On
a bee
his
on your dick?
dick. I
He
can't.
was going to the bed. You know how kids going to the bathroom outside on a tree, and a bee came and stung him on his peni or penis. Peni would be plural. On his penis. And from then on, I
Wow.
was petrified
Okay.
about
Is that
bees. I
why?
was like,
And
thought,
it still sticks with you today. Okay.
Yes, 50 some odd years later, it still
Wow.
sticks with
Trauma.
me.
That was childhood
That is
trauma for
trauma because I
you.
still remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Childhood
remember
trauma.
it like it was
Absolutely.
yesterday. Like I could
Yeah.
see it. I could taste it. I could see it. But that's why I've always been, and I've only been stung, I believe, one time in my life by a bee, and it was pretty innocuous. It was pretty like benign and innocuous, but just the thought of it. It's
Yeah, I
kind of
stepped
like
on a bee
needles.
one
Needles
time.
don't do anything really, but it's just the thought of somebody sticking something metal into you.
Doesn't bother me.
However, yes, getting back on these bees that have rights now.
Okay.
That's all right. So they have right. I'm trying to understand, what does that mean?
Well,
It's
and
not
let
like
me know, because I
it's
would
not
like
like
to
being
pivot off of that.
endangered.
Yeah, I would like to
Is it
pivot
like
off of
being
that.
so I guess I could stand around these bees and they can just hang out with me because I ain't got to worry about them. That doesn't mean they won't fly out my nose or get in my ear, or I'm just what? Because
Yeah.
supposedly
Mhm.
the stingless bees and are they only in the Peruvian Amazon? Because if that's the case, bring them here. Better than those African killer bees that they brought over here
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
boats and freights. Like, bring those bees here so we don't
Yeah.
have to worry about being stung, and then mate them with the bees that sting so they don't sting anymore. So
Well,
stingless
we
bees
can't. That
provide us.
doesn't mean that they're not going to sting. There could be babies that sting, and there could be babies that don't
No,
sting.
there are bees that do not sting. These are stingless bees.
Right, but you just said
They
have
have
them
rights.
mate with the
They have
stinging
rights.
bees.
So when if then we get mulatto bees, so we don't know whether they're gonna sting or not.
Right, that's what you just said. So you can't bring
yes, we
two.
can. We can
Well, hold on,
genetically, I believe we could do it. Stingless bees provide us with food and medicine. It is a must excuse me, and it must be made known so that more people will protect it. Well,
Okay.
how can it have rights if it's a it?
I don't
I'm
know.
reading. I'm just reading. They said protect it. You
Okay.
don't you don't I didn't know you refer to things that have rights as it. For this
Yeah.
reason, this law that protects bees and their rights represent a major step forward because it gives value to the lived experience of our indigenous peoples and the rainforest. Now there I get it. But
Hmm.
bees? Why
Well,
can't they just be
beast.
like they're not it's extinct. You can't kill them or something like that. But they got
Okay.
rights? Well, they
Okay.
got a
Well, I don't know about
constitution? They got a
right.
constitution? Who signed
Well,
it?
yeah. Well,
Would they sign it? Would they
I
sign it
don't
with
know.
honey? What?
Well, I know what I do believe in rights, and I believe in the rights to a grandparent having the right to see their grandchildren.
Oh, I
I
agree with you.
have such a problem. So I'm going to get into a little depth of detail about baby mamas. I call my son's mother, the mother of his children. Now they have a rocky relationship. Sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off. Again, whatever it is, that's not has nothing to do with me. I have reached out to her and I said, I will be in town for Christmas and I will be there for a day. I am hoping that I'm able to see the girls. I haven't seen the girls in person in probably about, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, maybe. I have spoken to them on FaceTime. The last time I spoke to them before Christmas, my youngest granddaughter said, Nani, are you coming here? Well, that broke Nani's heart. I truly don't understand what the and then after Christmas comes, I'm like, well, the day of Christmas, I'm calling her and I'm saying, hey, I just wanted to touch base with you. What time will you be bringing the girls and how much time will I have with them? I have gifts for them, all of that, right? It's not even about the gifts. It's about you denying your children.
Well, don't y'all have rights? That's why you could go to court and get
Yeah, but the thing
visitation.
is that I want these whoever's listening to this and you are a mother and you're having issues with the father of your children, look, you chose to lay down with him and have children. And I didn't. And my thing is that I shouldn't be held accountable for you or your children, but I definitely shouldn't be denied to see my grandchildren. You're denying them the ability to have a strong foundation in a relationship that shows love, support, and you denying them of that can cause anxiety, can cause relationship issues. You need, as a parent, as a young parent, stop putting yourself first and think about your babies. Think about what you're doing. Now, listen, there's grandparents out there that may be like, listen, I'm not having my grandkids around, my kids around this woman. But for speaking for myself, I think that I have a lot to show my granddaughters and I have a lot of love to give. It's not about money. It's not about, materialistic things that I want to give them. I want to be able to give them the love and a relationship that I can, develop with them as a grandmother to my grandchildren. Like, when my grandson comes, and again, I can say this about Leilani as well, but when my grandson comes, me just rocking him to sleep and singing to him to go to bed, he's, oh, he's always going to remember that. These are memories that she's denying me to have with my granddaughters.
I
And
think you'll
I
remember it
can't
more
stand
than
her
he
for it.
will, but yes, they are memories.
He
He's
will
not going to
remember
remember
it.
that.
I remember my grandmother rocking me in a rocking chair. I remember it like it was yesterday. She had a nightlight. There was a double bed. Me and Danielle would share the bed, and she would rock each and one of us to go to sleep and lay us down. And she would sing lullabies to us. Yes, I remember those moments.
I don't remember, you know me. I
Well,
don't
maybe
remember
you
anything about
don't, but
5 or 6.
these were just moments that stick by me. I remember my grandmother doing Jack and Jill. She had two papers on her finger, right? And she would say, "Fly away, Jack, come back, Jill." And I mean, but she's switching fingers, but I'm too dumb to realize that the paper's missing on the hands. It was a little game that she taught that she played with us. But
I never
these
heard
are
of that, but that's cute.
But let me tell you, these were my childhood memories, and these are things that I want to develop with my grandchildren. And she is denying me of these things. And I think that it's going to later on just come back and hurt her, because all she is right now is she is denying those kids of a relationship that I do believe that all children have the right to have
Well,
a
no,
loving
they do. They have the right
relationship with
by
their
they
grandmother
have the
and
right
grandfather.
by law to have that. Yes,
It's
definitely. No doubt.
it's it's just very frustrating. So think about what you're doing to your children before you make that decision of denying the grandparents the rights to share memories with your children. That's all I want to say. Yep.
No, that was compelling.
No, thank you. I was
That was
trying.
compelling.
Yeah.
So what's also compelling is, and I saw this, and it's interesting after I saw this, I was like, you know what? That's kind of true. Because you remember back in COVID, the eating habits have changed drastically
Mhm.
for Americans with COVID. And pizza restaurant, pizza parlors once were the second most common US restaurant type.
Okay.
Now they're outnumbered by coffee shops and
Oh, I believe
Mexican. Like
I love
Mexicans taking over for a
I
reason.
love Mexican food.
I love that, but I love but no, we still eat a lot of pizza, but
I love pizza.
nowhere
Really?
close to what it was back in 2018 and during
Really?
COVID.
Yeah.
Oh
Pizza's
yeah.
one of my favorites. Yeah.
So there's two out of like there's American coffee and bakery, pizza, and Mexican.
Mm.
Mexican restaurants since 2018 have gone up 20%. Coffee and bakery has gone up over 30% in that same amount of time.
Coffee and bakery?
Coffee and bakery restaurants have gone up over 30% during that time.
Okay.
I think it's a coffee, yes, bakery there. I think it's also a shorter period of time. It's probably a better profit margin too.
Yeah.
But pizza restaurants have gone down over 10%.
Wow.
All restaurants. When I say American, I mean all the restaurants in America. It's basically been flat since 2018. Almost, maybe there's like a less than a half or a quarter% increase. So the restaurant levels are staying the same, but they're changing in the concept, on the construct of them.
Okay.
And pizza's taking a hit, taking a big hit. Don't know why. A lot of it's chains. Who goes to a California pizza anymore? I rarely used to go there
Yeah.
anyway to have pizza, but
I think I
that
went there
was,
one time.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
probably been there, a hand amount of times. But they
I've
were
seen
sold in December. They were sold in December to a group um,
excuse me.
for two-thirds of what they were sold for back in 2011 when they went private.
Okay.
So that diminished. But we still, I mean, I just think it's interesting because pizza, you would think, I mean, pizza's more American than it is Italian. And because, well, of course, pizza over there is totally
Yes.
different.
Yes.
Totally different. Tastes
Yes.
totally different. We still eat a lot of pizza. $31 billion in 2024. But think about that. $31 billion, take 20% off of that. That's
Mhm.
a whole that's a whole lot. But, it just I think a lot of it has to do with social media too, and just having access to different things and different concepts, and people wanted more variety.
Yeah.
There's only so much you could do to a pizza.
Oh, well, the way you make your pizza. Whew.
But that's me making it. That's not going out and
But
getting it.
yeah, well, if they can make pizza like you, they might sell
But
some
you
more.
know what it is though, it's the inconsistency
Yeah.
in getting certain pizzas. It's
Oh,
just
your
like anything
pizza.
else. It's the inconsistency. Um,
And I'd rather have your pizza than pizza out anyway.
well, then and I think that's what most people have figured out. You know what? We could probably, and see, that's the thing about COVID I think is interesting. But what COVID forced you to do certain things you had to do because you couldn't be in those situations. So I think people they got better at making the things that they would go get, especially
Mhm.
with all the TikToks and the X's and the formerly known as Twitter and the Facebooks and the Instagram showing you how to do it. You figure
And
out,
also those new
it's not
pizza
that
ovens
difficult.
that people are
Oh
buying, so
yeah,
they
it's like
yeah, come on.
it's
It's
not
not
that
that
difficult.
difficult.
You can make a pizza in
Exactly.
8 minutes with a pizza oven.
Yes.
You don't have to go, drive, sit in a place, wait for service,
Yep.
be annoyed that you didn't get what you ordered and all that other
Mhm.
stuff, and it's not consistent. And then you
Yeah.
spent, or even if you order out pizza, you can't get a pizza for less than $30. Well, maybe if
No.
you do Papa John's, whatever, but you still gonna pay. You got a tip, you got a
Ugh.
tip, and you can make your own pizza at home for $10
Yeah.
easy.
Yes.
And heck, if
Good
you order from
pizza.
Whole Foods, they'll send you a pepperoni pizza for $9.99. A big
You
old
know.
pizza for
You know.
$9.99 and huge. I was like, what the hell? They feed a football team with this pizza? It was huge. But no,
Yeah.
pizza, they're feeling it. They're feeling it. But
Okay.
I have to go back
Okay.
to what I was talking about before, because if you just look at the news cycle, if you just pay attention a little bit, it is so evident that we're being bamboozled as a
Mhm.
as a society. We are being hoodwinked into what's important.
Mhm.
We're bombing boats out of Venezuela to get oil. Really? Is that really the play? Is to get oil? Because you just Sitco, who's based in Venezuela. Oh, we heard the other day, flying under the radar, that they own a private island, I think off the coast of the Carolinas. And that
Yeah, you
private
said that to
island's
me.
being sold to a conservative, a U.S. citizen.
Mhm.
Oh, no, excuse me, not a conservative, a conservationist, but a
Mhm.
U.S. citizen. I said, oh, how'd that happen? And I always
Yeah.
say follow the dollar, especially with Trump. All you got to do is follow. All you got to do is follow the dollar. Greenland, I guarantee you, if it ever happens, and I hope it doesn't, because I think you gonna see some pushback. So what are you gonna do? Take Greenland. Greenland's gonna push back and riot. And what are you gonna do? Attack your own country?
Right.
Kind of like what you're doing right now with ICE. Are you gonna do that? Go and
Yes,
do
he will.
martial law because they say,
He
"Hey,
will.
we don't need to do this because
Mhm.
we're already hey, we're right next to you. We're the same neighborhood. We're the same cul-de-sac. You're like,
Yeah.
we're there for you. We don't want anybody to break into your house, and we don't want anybody to break into our house.
Did
You don't
you
have to
did
buy
you
our house
see
and kick us. You don't have to buy
did
our house. It's like we're good."
did you see the little clip of him sending, Mark Rubio, that's his name? Is that his name? Sending him a little
Yes,
note,
Secretary of
and then
State.
he read the note out loud like an idiot?
Oh
Did you
no,
s
no, I didn't see
Oh
that.
my god. So he's, like, trying to tell him, like, go back to a conversation about, I guess, whatever they were discussing. So he says he writes the letter, gives it to Trump. Trump is not supposed to read it out loud. He reads it out loud, and he says, "Oh, I don't he I Jamie," I was just like,
Look,
"He has no contact clues."
look, this is like an episode of The Office almost.
I was
Watching
like,
them
"What
go
in
at
the
it.
world?"
And if you're wondering what I'm drinking a 2019 Chalk Hill Cabernet. If anybody was wondering, just
If you
sipping
wanna
it
know what I'm
here
drinking,
on a Sunday afternoon.
I'm drinking a bottle of water.
Oh no, we don't. Oh, we don't care about your pre-made meals and all the other your
That's all right, because
water,
when
and you
my
gotta get
muscles
your.
are bigger than yours, don't be
All right,
upset.
if your muscles are bigger than mine, then there will be a problem, and
Why?
then we will need to go get you tested. So, I think it's interesting that. So I get back on that. So it's about distraction. I mean, and it's almost like he literally read the playbook of House of Cards, because this is how this is playing out. It's like let's scare people, let's distract people, let's create chaos because
Mhm.
I don't want them to see certain things. And I'm going to delay this as much as I possibly can, just like January 6th almost was like it never happened. And then they got these articles, and like that's out. And I don't even think he really minds that because that gets them off of Epstein. But you ran on these things that you said. And that's
Mhm.
and I will say that's why there was all the distraction around the court cases. Yeah, he's just throwing that stuff out there. They knew they weren't going to win a bunch of that stuff. But why are we fixated on Greenland? Because all it does is embolden other countries to say, well, if America, if any country's not going to be imperialist, it's going to be America. And then when we start acting like it, it emboldens them. So China goes, all right, Taiwan, We've been talking. We've been telling y'all for a long time. We don't like the fact that y'all not with us anymore. We're gonna come
Mhm.
get you. And then what can Trump say about it? It's just like you
Right.
can't go. You can't go over there in Iran and say, "Oh, we're gonna protect your." But the first thing I thought of was, look, and I am down with being able to protect yourself as Israelis.
Mhm.
There's a difference between being Israeli and being Jewish. So I'm not talking about Jewish people. I don't have a problem with either one. However, weren't that what the Israelis were doing to people in Gaza? Killing innocent people in Gaza who may have been Christian or may have been Muslim, but we didn't jump over there and say, hey, I'm going to come in there and I'm going to start killing people because you're killing
Right.
these people. So why are you
Mhm.
going to do that in Iran? What business is that of ours in Iran? Because you've already taken the stance that you're not the global police anymore.
Right.
Your 66 international organizations you're pulling back from
Mhm.
and treaties and major climate groups because you as the president don't believe in that, and that's your prerogative. And of course you have more information than the public has. Why that's so different than every other president before that that thought it was a good thing to do, I don't know, but I'm sure we'll find out, and history will tell us that.
Yes.
But then why are you so interested in these other areas? But you don't mind if the Saudis roll out the red carpet for you and their human rights record is not that good. But then
Mhm.
again, neither is ours,
Right.
right? Then again, neither is
Right.
ours in many cases. But I get it. But it's all about following the dollar. So I'm like, what's the dollar play in Greenland? Is it rare minerals? Um, it's a huge piece of land, of course, but it's Denmark's.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we have deals and treaties and stuff that we don't even know about around rare materials and all that stuff that we're not just educated on, but it's out there. And it probably means he thinks that we're not getting them at a fair market price. So we're going to go ahead and take it. Since we couldn't get that deal from remember they tried to do that with the Ukraine on the rare
Mhm.
minerals and they got some type of deal done, but that went away so fast. So I don't even know if it's what we thought it was, but there's all this stuff out there
Mhm.
that people aren't concerned about. So then it's like, all right, I know what you are concerned about. I know you're concerned about if I mess with you in your home country. So I'm going to go put all this stuff out into the ether and shock you and get you
Mhm.
distracted so you're not talking about what I did 30 years ago.
Right.
Because if you ever find out, you may not think the same way about me. So
Mhm.
I'm
This
gonna
is
I'm
true.
gonna get that. And then
Mhm.
after I'm out of office, I don't have to worry about it because you're not gonna be able to it'll be
Can't do
so long
anything.
before you can touch me.
Right.
I'll
He'll be gone.
let everybody else deal with the exhaust trail after that.
Mm.
But it's
Mhm.
just amazing how this is happening and then how we fall for it. And then that, see, this isn't conspiracy to me, it's more like strategy.
Mhm.
And that's why you were so focused on news agencies and getting them in line. So
Yeah.
you could try to control the narrative as much as you wanted. So you
Mhm.
put them in fear. If they say anything that may not be able to be proven right now,
Mhm.
then you sue them and then they cow down to you or bow down to
Bow
you,
down. Mhm.
bow down to you, and then you get everybody scared. And it's like, because it's going to affect that CEO. That CEO cares about his package.
Yeah.
He
Of
cares about
course.
his salary package, and that's
Mhm.
going to impact that.
Yeah.
Ask Elon when he gets an $800 million, $900 million package, and everybody's
Yep.
going crazy about. But it's like that's what this is all about, people. It's not
Mhm.
about what's the, we got more. We don't even depend on the Middle East for oil that much anymore. Why do we need Venezuelan oil? Didn't even
Right.
make sense to me. Now I get it, the drugs. I think that's a good thing if you can prove that. But now
Right.
you're trying to get the oil companies to come into business with you, and they're like, well, wait a minute, this we were trying to go into Venezuela. Oh,
Right.
we didn't agree to this. So you tell us how you think this is going to work, but
Mhm.
we're not agreeing to anything. And I think, and
Mhm.
that's the same thing about Greenland. It's like, what's the plan? If there's a plan, and I know for national security, you might not be able to tell us and all this stuff, but then you got your administrative husband and wives making TikToks and X's about coloring Greenland with the American flag and saying this should be ours and inciting this. And now the
Right.
fact that you got the EU, you got leaders in the EU going, yeah, we can't sign off on this. Y'all, hey, Donald, you're tripping. Like you need to
Right.
stop all the, you need to stop all this talk because we can't sign on to this because these are our neighbors. And if you're going,
Yeah.
and guess what? Because if you're
Mm.
going to do it to them,
You gonna do it to us.
thank you.
Yeah.
And it's not, and what difference is that than what Putin's doing?
Right. Exactly.
Different reasons, but what difference is it? And at least that used to be part of the USSR. That
Yeah.
used to be part of, I think, the Soviet Union. Greenland
Mhm.
was never part of
Right.
North America. Never. So it's different. I mean, we're going back to colonial times where hell, like when we didn't
Well,
have Texas and California, we just said, all right, we'll just go ahead and take it. We'll buy it from somebody. We'll give the Indians a necklace of wooden beans, and we'll take New York or whatever it is. It's like, come on, we can't. And they're not gonna let. So now you want to get into a confrontation.
mhm.
You can pick on Venezuela, and that's also a bad look too. Just how we did that. Like we're
Yeah.
picking on Venezuela. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't do any. I mean, just
Eh,
like if China really wanted to go over there and take Taiwan, they would. There's a lot of other things going on,
yeah.
strategic positions and all that stuff. I mean, the only reason Israel's not being engulfed by the Middle East is because we protect them. Without us, they would not exist.
Right.
We know that, they know that, and that's why we're in it together. And they should have the right to be protected, but
Mhm.
they would not be there unless we protected them, and we would not be there unless it was a strategic
Reason.
geography for us, whether it
Right.
be oil, whether it be geography and closeness to proximity to our enemies, all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
let's be real. What does Greenland get us? And why can't we get there how we've been getting there? Because it didn't seem like there was any problem with Greenland. So why not Mexico? We always complaining about Mexico. Why don't we go and take Mexico then? That would sound crazy. It sounds just as crazy to me to say you want to go and take Greenland. And like I
Greenland.
said, we'll never be as educated. But heck, I believe I know as much as Mark Rubio.
You probably do.
He probably walked in that day and said, Greenland? Okay. Okay. All right, if you say so.
Right.
I mean, come on. Come on. Somebody, I mean, come on. Somebody's got to be like, all right, man. I hope there's somebody that's in there going,
I don't think so because if there's
DT.
somebody there he's gonna fire them. He doesn't want any pushback from anybody telling him what he
Ah,
thinks is right or wrong.
I'm not. He's not. Look, he's not a dumb man. He's not an unintelligent man. I mean, I've always said he's the greatest content generator that's ever lived in the
Yes.
social media age. So
You
he's a
said.
very intelligent man, and there is a method to the madness. It's just the madness usually comes before the method, and then afterward, the method doesn't come through as something that garnered that much madness.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
to me, this
he's
is all to because look, he got stayed out of jail, got to be president, got the immunity to do anything he wants. Now he's doing anything he wants, but yet finally, I mean, Congress is stepping up and saying you can't even do this without our approval. You
right.
really can't. It's not gonna happen. I don't think that's the only thing. It's like I don't think he can. I'm hoping he can't do that. But at the end of the day, I think he thinks, excuse my language, I think he thinks the EU's a bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
And he thinks he can do that and they're not going to do anything. And I think NATO, why would you want NATO to come after us?
Right.
I don't know. I mean,
He has a strategy.
yeah, it's I don't politics bore me, but this is like this is like the sociology study. This is just interesting how these things are happening. And maybe they happen behind the scenes. Like, could you imagine if Obama said, you know what? We need to go get Greenland. People would have been like, what?
Right. Yeah.
Or even
Yep.
Bush, or even Clinton, or even Nixon, even Tricky Dick. If Tricky Dick said, hey, and Kennedy, I don't want to go get Greenland, everybody would be like, huh? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Well,
What are we talking? What are we talking? If that's the
are
case, we
they
should have got.
saying what are we talking about? Why Trump is talking about it, or is it just the people who voted for him that
No, I
are
think the people. No, I think the people that voted for him are seeing the
You
errs
think?
in their ways, but
I
yet he has time. Here's the thing, though, he's got time to make it up. And see, don't think there's not going to be a strategy. Just like um, it's just like in it's just like in football, right? Like you want to win the last 4 minutes of the half, and then you want to win the first 4 minutes of the second half when you come on. It's like basketball. You want to
Yep,
those last 2 minutes of that quarter, you want to
yep.
win that, right? So it's like you got time. It doesn't matter what happens at the beginning, in the middle, it could be, but if you can get it together at the end, you could take that momentum into the next quarter.
Like the
So if he
game
could get
last
it to
night
get
against
yeah,
Rams and North
the
Carolina?
Rams and the Panthers. No
The
way the Panthers
Panthers.
should have lost that game. I was like, oh,
No way. And I listen, you know me, I'm
Stafford
like,
with
I don't
gangster.
want to watch this
That's
crap. But
that's that's
that
that's what 15, 16, 17 years gets you as a quarterback. He went
what
gangster because that throw and that catch, I was like, I mean,
I mean, that was
that
just
was
crazy to
that was
me.
gangster. But at the end of the day, nobody cares about what happened.
During the whole no, they care about
The
the winner of
58
the
minutes before that,
Yep.
at the end of the day, you won. So it's like he still has a chance to do some things to make people go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because like January 6th sounds like it was in another universe by now, except for the people
Yeah.
who were victims of it, right?
Yep.
They still
Yep.
haven't been able to do anything about it. And then he got in and he was able to like, nah, I'm gonna let these people out. Nah, I'm gonna give this clemency or these
Yep.
pardons for no reason. Look, every president does. It's not like all
Yeah.
presidents give pardons and they know who the people are. They sit there and they go, "Hey, that's one of the imperial things that you can do as
Mhm.
president that makes you probably feel like, yeah, this is cool. I can give pardons." Some people take them seriously. Some go, you're crazy if you're not gonna pardon your friends. Who wouldn't pardon their
Right.
friends if they
Yes,
could?
absolutely.
I think what's
I
kind of
mean,
effed up though is when you pardon people who owe people a lot of money because of their crimes, and then they get pardoned, and then they ain't got to pay nothing.
yeah.
Now that's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
But this
Yeah.
dude is trying to pardon people in state that were that were convicted by the state. The state's like, that's nice, but
Right.
that's just like writing a letter. You can't do anything. That's a state. You cannot
Right.
federal. It's not a federal crime.
Federal right,
Yeah, take a
exactly.
seat. Take a seat,
Take
POTUS.
take
That's
a seat.
take a seat and watch this
Yeah.
because this person is not getting out.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
that's the funny thing, that this
yeah.
person is not getting out. But it's just amazing what he is able to do. Now, you were talking about your grandchildren, and
Mhm.
always when you talk about children, there's always that big issue about childcare.
Mhm.
So in New Mexico
Mhm.
last year, they made childcare free. And guess what happened?
What?
It took 120,000 people from below the poverty line to above the poverty line. It improved
Really?
their lives that much, free health care.
I believe it.
And
Yeah, I
New
believe
Mexico is a state that long ranked worst in the US for child well-being,
Mhm.
became first and only in the country to offer free childcare for a majority of families. And because of that, and that shows you how much childcare costs in this country, took
A lot.
120,000 people above the poverty level.
So, and I guess help me educate me, help me understand better, but like I know that a lot of people, when you say above poverty level, usually people that are below poverty level are on some type of assistance where childcare is
But
offered
it's
for
still a
free.
cost. There's still a cost.
To who?
To them, they still have to pay something. That
No.
okay, for instance, that aid money has to go somewhere.
Okay, so well,
So in the
okay.
poorest states in the poorest states in the nation,
Mhm.
where the median household income
Mhm.
is half of the poverty level, and
Okay.
childcare costs for two children can take up to 80% of the family income.
Okay.
That's where the impact was powerful.
Okay. All right.
So that's I mean, I got you got to dig into the details, but they got free pre-kindergarten care.
Well, again, like I said to you, I mean, there's a lot of free. So the state is obviously paying these daycare providers to provide the care for these children, correct? I mean, that's how it goes now. Like, so you're a single mom or below poverty
But I think
income.
this is what you're forgetting. You're thinking that when you send that money to parents, that they're using that money specifically for
No, no,
that.
no, no.
But
There's a voucher that they're given, and the voucher, they can't
okay.
use the voucher for cash. It has to go towards the daycare provider. So if if they have the daycare provider, the state is giving them a voucher to use for daycare, right? So the money can't go to the parent. Now, we're not talking about food stamps where you have, parents that are on food stamps and selling their food stamps for drugs. We're not talking about that. We're talking about child care vouchers, signing up and having the state pay for the child care. The child
Mhm.
care is provided from the state. So it allows these people to go to work and they're not paying for childcare here either if they're below
But see,
poverty.
here's the thing. You could be the working poor, and you could be below the poverty level but not qualify for aid.
Okay.
And
There you go.
when that's costing you $800 a month,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Which is about half of what these families and and these families, these two
o-
working people were being
Okay.
paid
Okay.
for their mortgage. So they're paying $800, they got a $1,600 mortgage, then basically their costs went down to 0 for
Which is
childcare. So they got another
amazing. Yeah. That's
right?
amazing. And I think that that is definitely beneficial for people who are struggling because childcare is extremely, extremely expensive. And I'm going to tell
But
you
they
that I am
also
grateful.
increased they also increased the salaries or the pay for the people who were actually administrating the childcare. They were actually
Okay, which
looking
makes
after
sense.
the kids,
Yeah,
right?
because it's a hard job. It's taking care of children. And you know what? A lot of people don't realize is that your children are with the child care provider just like a teacher more than they're with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You're
look,
y-
we have a bad record. The United States is 40th out of the 41 highest income countries in the world. They are 40th out of 41 in child
mm,
care policies while maintaining some of the highest child care costs in the world.
it's
Why?
ridiculous.
Well, it is, but what do I always
But
say? Follow the
mm,
dollar. And because
yeah,
it's capitalist and people are making a buck,
yeah.
look, once you start making money, just
Hmm.
like our businesses, they start coming to you, nickel and dime you here, nickel and dime you there, and it all hits in your margin. You're like, I'm just trying to keep what I got. If I can increase it, great. But I want
Right.
my percentage to stay the same. If I can increase my volume
Yes.
and make that nut go up, fine. But don't come and take my margins away because then I
Right.
can't increase it regardless. So that's the
Absolutely.
thing. So people are
Mhm.
making money off of childcare, so
Absolutely.
why you don't want to get now? If the government can pay you now, that like I want to know what those childcare providers and companies are making now in New Mexico versus what they were making before, because now it's free. It's free
Yeah.
for the parents, but yet somebody's still getting paid to do it.
Somebody's getting paid to do it. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, childcare margins are, I mean, listen, people charge a lot for childcare because it's never going away. It's always going to be needed. Just like wedding planners and places
Oh
that
well, I don't.
share
I'm not
that.
going to compare wedding planners to childcare
I'm
providers.
saying, listen, okay, you don't have to compare them, but it just is an example of people are going to charge the highest amount of money that they can possibly charge
Well,
because
yeah,
guess
it's a
what?
free market
Weddings are
that
always
they can
happening.
get. With that,
Weddings are always happening.
but that's not an essential.
It's not an essential, but I can guarantee you it's not an essential, but I'm using it as an example that people are going to pay, just like you're
Uh,
going
I,
to pay for childcare
I,
because you need it.
I agree. I could say that. I don't know if I would have used that example.
Okay, well,
I don't
you didn't
know.
have to. I used it. I'm
I
not
don't know
you. I'm
because
me.
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I'm just thinking about what people
20
spend their money on. Huh?
yeah, according to the data in 2020, 27% of childcare providers, often women of color, were living in poverty.
The
And that's in New
providers?
Mexico. Yeah, the actual providers, 27% of the actual providers were living in poverty. That's in New Mexico. And then 4 years later with this program, it fell to 16%.
I love that.
So that was almost a 50% drop.
Mhm.
And even providers living in poverty because of the program.
Yeah, that I
So
love
there's
that
something
though.
going on. There's something going
Yeah.
on here. Now it's a big
Yeah.
investment that happened to pay off, as they say. But there's
Mhm.
something going on in New Mexico that needs to be paid attention to.
Yeah, well, good for
Something.
New Mexico. And that's great because, and it's crazy. And I think about when you say that a provider is living in poverty, a provider.
I'm talking about
So
the
we're
person who's
sending
taking care of your kids while you're
this
going out and working.
right. And this is what I'm saying to you. So she's in poverty. She's taking care of your children. And
You're in
again,
poverty. You're in poverty because you're working to take care of your children. So, I mean, I don't know how that's a winning formula.
it's not, and that's the thing is, so it's just like, I don't know. It's just very frustrating just even thinking about it, but, when you live in poverty and when you live in that type of environment, I think it causes a lot of stress. It causes,
Of course.
anxiety. So how can you be the top of your best
You
being
can't.
if right, that's what I'm
And
saying to
this
you. So you're going to work. These people are going to work, right, to provide for their family while handing them over to somebody that's in poverty that's dealing with the
and
same stresses that they're dealing
I'm gonna
with.
tell you what's even more crazy. So if you think about just the whole system, f- we we get free secondary education, right? You get free
Mhm.
elementary, middle school, public schools free. So why isn't childcare free? Why is it before you go free? Why isn't it free from the time you were born to the time you get into kindergarten to the time to the time you get through high school and all right, college? And some would
Yeah.
say even college could be free, but it's think about this. So and it's a whole entertainment system. It's all about money because you can make money in sports. NIL. That's
Mhm.
all we've been talking about over the last 3 or 4 years in sports, right? You got people giving $400 million to one school to fund their athletics program. Well, that same $400 million, I don't know what that could do to a state
Well,
to be able to fund childcare. And look, and these same people probably give oogles and googles of money anonymously. So I'm not hating on that. And I'm not hating on you. And
mhm.
it's America. You put your money, you do whatever you want to do. Your money can make
Yes.
money. And I'm sure they're making investments in areas that they care about. And that's great. But then when you hear about the numbers that go around and you go, okay, well, this budget that New Mexico was 300 million.
Mhm.
So that's what you can do with 300 million. And then what impact will that have versus
Right.
the impact of paying an athlete some
Athletes.
millions of dollars that they're going to go to the next school anyway to get the better deal. And I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that at all. But I just say, 6, 7. Right? It's like, what is, well, it's just
We're we're
interesting. The stuff is just interesting when you think about it, what we're really talking about, what really is important. And
Mhm.
it all is. I
It
think,
is. All of it
it
is
all
important.
is because that money that gets generated by these universities and schools to do sports goes to
And
great causes.
and listen, and you are changing these athletes' lives. Like their lives are
However,
what?
it's impact. It's like the apex of the impact. Do you want your impact to be narrow or do you want your impact to be broad? How much do you want to control it? It's a fascinating essay on capitalism and
Mhm.
America and why this is the best country in the world because you're discussing things in this country that you can't even fathom other places. So, it's good to have these are first world country problems we're talking
Yeah,
about.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Certain things shouldn't be. Free childcare.
Childcare.
People talk about free healthcare and I'm basic healthcare. I think we have basic free healthcare and that it just gets paid someplace else. People don't pay for it. I believe this
Mhm.
should be. I'd rather put money in free childcare
Yeah.
than free healthcare.
I agree. I think that free childcare with And I'm not talking about somebody who just sits kids in front of in front of a TV. I'm
No,
talking about childcare
we're talking
where
about
they're being
child
educated.
care.
They're
Yes,
learning to prepare them for, it's like a preschool, but preparing them for, you know,
free
yeah,
pre-K.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, preparing them to learn,
because
not just
we
to,
got free kindergarten, right?
yeah.
So I know pre-K's more
And
work
there's free
intensive.
pre-K too right now, but I'm talking about child care, not pre-K. Pre-K is like
Yeah,
starting school. So that's like, their
but
free
there has
programs
to
are
be
Head Start.
guardrails. There has to be guardrails when people don't take
Right.
advantage of the free child care where like you just say, here, take my kids while I go do what I'm gonna do, and you're not doing the
Absolutely.
essential parenting, and
Because guess
that's
what?
the problem.
There are parents that are not, they're taking advantage of the system, and they're going out and hanging out with their friends. They're not even going to work. They're just taking advantage of the free healthcare. I know people personally. Oh, I'm not working today. I'm just going to go hang out and I'm dropping my kids off at daycare.
But this is
But if they're not
interesting that we
paying for it.
said this because I'm just reading the last statement on this article, and I don't know if they wanted it to come off the way that this says. And we just said something, and I just happened to look at it, and I said, oh, I don't know if that was a good quote to put. The last quote on the article says, being able to work for free or go to school for free, that can make a big difference in your life and your children's, everybody's life. But wait a minute, who works for free?
Right.
Nobody works for free. And why would you want to work? I don't know if that was said right because you're not working for free. If the
No.
child care is free, you're still getting paid. Nobody's going to work to do it for free. The only thing you're
No.
doing for
Nobody's
free
gonna.
is raise your kids. You do that for
Right.
free.
Absolutely.
But you're not
Yeah.
being able to
No,
work. I
absolutely
don't know
not.
where that came from because
Absolutely not.
it says the representative says urges other New Mexican families to take advantage of the opportunity to access free child care. But how does that mean you work for free?
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
interesting. I don't know about that one. And that might not send the right message because nobody wants to work for free. That
No.
that that doesn't work.
That
Then it's
doesn't
not
work.
work. That's called a
It,
hobby.
right. And that's called a hobby. You're absolutely right.
All
Yeah,
right.
and guess what? Yeah, I'll leave it there. Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right. So that brings us to the end today.
Mhm.
Episode 1, season 2, 2026, Cockriser, the show. And as usual, do you have any parting thoughts for us?
Well, I guess the parting thoughts for me we talked about robots, we talked about grandparents, we talked about childcare and some other things, but I just want to tell, for myself, my closing thoughts would be give everybody an opportunity to show the person that you're trying to connect with, whether it's your grandchildren, a family member, or a friend, um, this relationship that they need, because not only do the children need it, but the grandparents need it too. And not just creating legacies, but creating love and relationships. That's what I have to say.
All right. I'll say don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. All right.
Don't
And that's
cry
don't
because
cry
it's over.
because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Okay.
There you go. You think
All
about
right.
that.
That's a good one.
All right.
All right.
All right. That's it, folks. We'll see you next time, next week, episode 2, coming at you. Cockriser, the show. I'm Jamie Jones.
I'm Monique Jones, and thanks
See
for
ya.
listening.
Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free. I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes Benz. Whoa, yeah. Please don't take offense. It isn't.